I get it now. I know where this bubble comes from. The crown and feather combine to make the wand, and the goblet holds the soap. That's pretty clever, huh? Watatsumi Island's most treasured artifacts are a bubble-blowing kit. But it's a bubble capable of feats I wasn't expecting. It does a good amount of damage when fully charged. The area of effect is actually quite large, and it's able to damage most shields in the game, and that includes hydro shields. When we last pit Barbara against the biggest baddies in the game, we opted to test her survivability. These were long, but in no way arduous, battles where victory was claimed by healing hundreds of thousands of HP and chipping slowly away at the boss's life bar. Of the bosses available at the time, some put forth a valiant, albeit vain, effort, others couldn't even come close, and one actually bagged a win. We had buffed Barbara with some potions and food, of which we won't initially be doing this time. The Gourmand's Buffet and energy drinks have all been sidelined to see just how far blowing some bubbles at bosses can carry Barbara. Here are the stats, the build. Prototype Amber is the weapon of choice. She's got around 36,500 health and a 50.9% healing bonus with an additional 30% incoming. These are in no way ideal artifact substats, which would have her health somewhere around 40,000, but it's probably enough? The rules from last time still apply. Evasion will be minimal or non-existent. Barbara will attempt to tank everything. And, well, the battles are going to be much, much quicker. We again start with Andrius. If he was a joke to Barbara before, he's even more of one now. His first form still has nowhere near enough damage output, and now his second form suffers from the same problem. It's not that Barbara is more tanky this time. On the contrary, she's actually got less healing potential. It's just that Barbara defeats him so fast that his low health desperation doesn't even have time to get started. It may not seem like much damage, or perhaps the interval at which damage happens appears slow, but that doesn't change the fact that Barbara is dishing out nearly 300,000 damage a minute on Andrius. The new dog fares much better, mostly due to the corrosion status effect. The fight is only troublesome in two particular areas, and that's the 2 times the tornado attack is unleashed. This is too much damage to tank without a properly timed burst. However, there's plenty of time between the 2 tornado attacks to recharge said burst. The boss tried to combo Barbara out with some fall damage here, but fell just a bit short of the required launch distance. The shield phase seems like it could be an issue too, but I had a difficult time trying to get hit during it. The skulls that you target can and will block the boss's attacks, even if you're just standing slightly off to the side of them. Once the second tornado attack passes, the Wolflord joins Andrius. How about the Harbingers? Thus far, things are about the same as last time. Let's begin with Childe. Hydro form remains the deadliest, and it's honestly luck that I managed to make it through on the first try without food and potions. Many times just one more hit would have ended things. But Barbara is too strong now. Even his transformation cannot push her back. Electro goes down just as fast as Hydro, and it's on to Foul Legacy. Perhaps you're wondering, how fast? Well, much like Andrius, Childe didn't get to use his strongest attacks. Just a quick recap from the last time where Barbara tanked her way to victory. Though it took an incredibly long 30 minutes, Childe went down. Yeah, 30 minutes was a heck of a long time. With the new artifacts, though, from the start of the battle in Hydro to downing his Foul Legacy form, 2 minutes, 50 seconds. That's it. And I imagine it could be brought down near the 2-minute mark with food, potions, and better artifact substats. If they weren't already, Barbara boss speedruns are now a thing.
You're cut above.
I completely agree.
Okay, so the other Harbinger, Signora. She's cryo, at least for the first half of the battle. Cryo always seems like it could be a problem for Barbara, what with the constant freezing when she uses her skill. So that means Signora's got a pretty good chance, right?
So strong, but how?
Gonna be honest here, the toughest part of this battle is running around catching butterflies during the transition phase, and that's only difficult until you realize that Barbara can heal by attacking the ice cocoon. Also, Barbara can now defeat the Oceanid without the need for a clever physical damage build. Just pop on Ocean-Hued Clam, and all those immunes flying about don't mean much once the bubble bursts. The whole field gets cleared in an instant. The birds are still the most troublesome because the bubble cannot reach them normally. You have to time your jump just right. Alright, we've got 2 bosses left to cover. Potions and food are both on the table once more, because these 2 pack a punch, at least by our rule set of attempting to tank everything, that is far beyond what the others are capable of. The first, Dvalin. Dvalin was the sole winner last time. The damage from the crumbling platforms was just too much, and well, it's still the biggest obstacle here. The bubble does speed up downing him, but because it cannot reach his weak point without climbing atop him, Barbara suffers the same fate as before. For those who may have not watched the previous Barbara vs. Bosses showcase, climbing atop Dvalin was deemed as evasion and thus not allowed. If we change that rule and allow it, then with careful timing of Barbara's skill and burst, there's just enough wiggle room to defeat Dvalin before the platform outdamages her healing. Still, I'm not happy with this outcome, so we'll give Dvalin the win again. He remains anti-Barbara. Pyro and Electro last time, Hydro and Cryo this time. Probably the worst combination for Barbara since an Electro and Cryo version doesn't exist. Azhdaha's high defense makes him resilient to the bubble, requiring high defense to defend against the popping of a bubble. Yep. Yet another thing for Scaramouche to add to his list of truths.
Just like a bubble on the water. Beautiful for a moment, then total destruction.
Which caps out at 16,199 damage against him. The Geo and Hydro forms aren't anything special, but things do start to get dicey once Cryo comes into play. There's a ton of damage being dealt when he cues his Icicle Barrage. It's very similar in strength to the Golden Wolflord's Tornado, and locks Barbara out of healing via attacks due to being frozen so often. It is possible to ward off when at full health when it begins, but when at a lower health, I found a burst was necessary. Despite this, Azhdaha does fall. This battle was the longest of them all, clocking in at 7 minutes. And with all that, we can label 2.3 as the patch that buffed Barbara a bit too much. I'd imagine those with Kokomi are also rather happy about this somewhat absurd buff to healers. While, yes, certain team comps are able to just incinerate enemies, and this buff may not shift the meta for Abyss 12 runs, it's still rather hilarious to see healers now decimate typical overworld monsters, including the bosses. Anyways, what are your thoughts on Ocean-Hued Clam? It's rather quickly becoming my favorite artifact set. The damage is pretty great, and it's a much more active special effect when compared to other artifacts. It requires building up heals, as well as character positioning to catch enemies in the area of effect when the bubble pops. I dropped 12 fragile resin right away trying to get a high HP boosting set, but luck wasn't on my side. Still, happy with the results, and plan to keep dumping daily resin into it until I've got a dedicated health boosting set, and one balanced between damage and health. If you enjoyed the show, you may be interested in the first Barbara showcase, linked here, that's all about her never evading and tanking everything bosses can throw at her. This is Musashi, signing off. Till next time,